Hi, my name is Natasha Chamberlain, and I have written this course, this guide on ways to save money. I hope that you'll find this to be helpful. I'm just sharing with you techniques that I have learned over the years, because for many years I have struggled financially. Basically, I've struggled financially for most of my life. And because of these struggles, I've really learned how to make money go far and have adapted techniques over the years to help me save. Not only save, but actually make money go far. So, I want to share this with you. I want to share with you how you can make your money go far and how you can save and just help to release that burden and the stress of finances and money, which is a big burden and stress for most of us. The first thing we'll look at is saving money while traveling. When traveling, buy weekly or monthly riders for buses, as this works out a lot cheaper than if you're buying it every single day. So maybe try and just get a weekly ticket, a monthly day rider. It'll be different for different countries, but I know in England we do have where you can have like the weekly riders, the monthly riders. This does in the end work out a lot cheaper. Also, if you download the Stagecoach app, for those who live in the UK, it is cheaper buying your tickets via the app than paying for it directly on the bus. You save, I think, about 20-30p, but that 30 and 20p adds up, especially if you travel quite regularly. It really does make a big difference and it saves. So that's just one tip. Also, use a travel card if you can. You can ask your job coach, the job center, for advice on how you can get a travel card and if you're eligible for one, especially if you've just started a new job and you have to travel for work. Another tip you can do when it comes to traveling is try to walk instead of using a car or public transport. It'll be so much cheaper, healthier, and is a great opportunity to really explore your areas. Because you may think, well, one day I'm going to go down a different route. Let me try different routes just to make your journey a bit more fun, a bit more interesting, especially if it's a route that you have to travel every single day. So it's always good to try different routes and walk if possible, if you can, instead of taking public transport, because that always works out so much cheaper. We'll now look at work and income. So try if you can to work more than one job, especially if money is a struggle. And I do know that this can be extremely difficult for some, because you may have young children, you may have to do school runs, you could have health conditions. There could be so many different reasons why it's not possible to work more than one job. But if you are able to, then maybe take on an extra job, even if it's just a small part-time job that coincides with your main job. Because this would really help to bring in that extra income. Also, if you're looking for work, then try your best to put as much effort into that, which I'm sure you're probably already doing. But just think of everything. Try and think out the box. How can you really bring this money into you? How can you find a job that's right? Have you put your CV out everywhere? Maybe get extra help and support with creating a CV. Go door to door, knocking on people's door, putting your CV through doors. Put ads in shop windows. Go on the Friday ad online and post a free ad. Really put yourself out there. Ask on Facebook groups and social media. Really put yourself out there. Let people know, look, I'm looking for work. Is there jobs out there? And you'll be surprised at what you could come up with. You could even talk to someone on the street if you're standing at a bus stop waiting for a bus and strike up a conversation. And chuck it in there that you're looking for a job, and if they know of anything that's going, really just put it out there. that you're seeking for work, and hopefully, you never know, something may just pop up. You can even ask friends and family if they need any help doing odd jobs around the house, or you could put an ad out there saying, is anyone looking for a dog walker? Because that's always a good one. Walk dogs for people. Cleaning, does anyone need a housekeeper? Or an errands person, someone who goes and does shopping and runs errands. So just think of what you can do that can bring in extra income and extra money. There's so many ideas out there, that things you can do. You can even try and start your own business. A lot of people, especially if you have got young children or health conditions, so it's hard to go out and actually get a job, then try and start your own business from home. Look at your talents and your gifts. What talents do you have? How can you use those gifts? What kind of business can you create using your already natural born gifts and talents that you have? This is what I've done because I struggle with fibromyalgia and health conditions. So it makes working very, very hard for me. I've tried several jobs and I've had to end up giving up the jobs because of my health conditions. So this is why I've decided to have my YouTube channel and have my Etsy shop, using my gifts and my talents to try and bring in an income. So I do really understand for those of you who are unable to go out and actually get a physical job because of reasons like children or health conditions. But there is so many other ways that you can definitely have a job or bring in extra income. You could try and expand your knowledge and learn something new. Maybe take up a course or look online. There's just so much. There's free courses, there's paid courses. YouTube is always how to do this and how to do that videos. There's so much you can find on there. Alison's free courses, which is another great place to look online, and you actually get certificate courses through that. There's so many courses out there, or lessons and articles on how to learn new things and do new things, whether it's paid, whether it's free. We're so lucky nowadays, especially with Wi-Fi and internet and Google. It's all at our fingertips. So try and see if you can take up a new hobby, a new talent, learn something new, because this will really open doorways for you, new doorways, and give you a much wider range of career opportunities. And also, learning is fun. It really is fun. If you really put your heart in it and you enjoy it and you live in the moment, it can be so much fun. Another thing is to try and recognize what your gifts and talents are. Because you probably know exactly, you know which gifts you have, you know which talents you are. But you may discover that you actually have so many more that you never realized you had. So try and look at all your different gifts, your talents, see if there's anything that you can try and do that you've never thought of doing before, or you may have not felt confident. Give new things a go. And then, as I said before, you can easily start your own business using your gifts and your talents. You could create a website. Wix is a good one for creating a website. If you like book writing, you could publish articles. There's Lulu's Publishers, which is a free publishing book site. Etsy, sell your homemade crafts and homemade stuff on Etsy. Sell psychic readings on Etsy. You can sell on eBay. There's just so much out there. There really is. So maybe look at developing your gifts. Look what other talents you have, and how can you put your talents and your gifts to good use. What can you do with the gifts and talents that you already have, and what are new gifts and talents that you can develop, grow, and then look at what resources are out there that may really be helpful. Another thing that you can do is to really get involved with your local community. You could do this by volunteering your time. I know at the moment with COVID it's a bit difficult, but once things die down, I'm sure there'll be ample voluntary positions out there. And even now, I'm sure there's a lot of positions still where you can volunteer your time. This will really help you to gain confidence as well as experience. It will also open new opportunities for you. You may meet someone who works in a particular field of interest for you. And this could ultimately lead to a new job in that field. You'll make new friends. It'll build your self-confidence. And basically get you out there. It puts you out there, gets your voice heard. So don't be shy to volunteer your time. You never know. You may really enjoy it. And it may actually open new doors for you. You may discover gifts and talents you never knew you had. Another thing that you could try is to declutter and sell your unwanted items on eBay, Amazon, Etsy, boot sales, car boot sales, fairs, marketplaces. You could even do a table sale. Advertise in the Friday ad or your stuff that you don't want. And this is a great way, really, because you're clearing out your own clutter, things that you don't want anymore, but you're making money out of it. You're selling it and making money. Even your old clothes. There's so many apps out there now where you can sell your old clothes on certain apps. There's Facebook Marketplace. It's just, there's so much out there. It's all at our fingertips, waiting to be explored, used, and utilized. And one thing I always say to my girls, my children, I always say, remember that one man's junk is another man's treasure. What you may see as junk, someone else will be like, wow, thank you so much. You don't know how long I've been actually looking for this. So maybe have a big declutter. What is it that you actually use? What don't you use? What has been sitting in the back of your cupboard for years and years and years? And you keep saying, one day I'll use it. Just chuck it out, sell it, clean it up, whatever you need to do to it. And you never know, you may just make some really good money. You could even have some valuable things, some antiques or valuable jewelry or ornaments that you just think are not really worth that much money, and you find out they're actually worth a heck of a lot of money. So you never know what you may discover or find from just doing a good decluttering, a good sort out, and trying to sell your items online or in any other way that you can sell them. You could rummage through like charity shops, car boot sales, things like that, and just find old jewelry and ornaments, like I said before, but then try and sell them on eBay. You could find a treasure that you don't even know you have. I once went into a charity shop. Was it a charity shop? No, it was a car boot sale. I was in a car boot sale, and I found this old brass. It was made out of brass. It was a scorpion. It was like just a big brass scorpion, and it was an ornament. And I thought, oh, it doesn't really look like much, but something told me, my gut instinct told me, let me buy it. It was for 50p. I thought 50p, no, I can't go wrong. My daughter's a Scorpio, my youngest daughter, so I thought it'll be perfect for her. She could put it in her room. So I bought this this brass scorpion, and I ended up just putting it. She didn't like it. She just said, no, I do not like it. She's quite fussy, my daughter. So I stuck it on eBay. I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? Because I don't want it. I didn't think it was that attractive looking. It was quite hideous looking. And so I stuck it on eBay. I thought I'll list it for £1. I only bought it for 50p. If I make 50p profit from it, that's great. And you would never believe, I couldn't believe it. I actually got so many bids, and I ended up selling it for £78. £78. And it was actually quite valuable, and I had no idea. For something that I bought for 50p, I was going to give it to my youngest daughter because she's a Scorpio, and she didn't want it because she did, it really creeps her out. It wasn't pleasant looking. I thought, oh well, okay, I don't want it, so I'm going to sell it. Might get 50p if I'm lucky, and I ended up with £78. So that is what I'm saying. You never know what treasure is out there. And that might be quite fun. Have a bit of a bargain treasure hunt. Go around charity shops, boot fairs, find old tats and try and sell it, because you never know. Okay, if you are a smoker, this is for you smokers out there, then you can shop around to find cheaper brands and alternatives. There's plenty of options out there, especially if you smoke quite an expensive brand of cigarette or tobacco. You can find, just from shopping around, you can find something that's very similar to what you smoke now, but for half the price. Also roll thinner cigarettes if you are a tobacco smoker, just making them thinner and smaller. It works out cheaper. You get a lot more out of your tobacco, and it's sort of healthier. Sort of. I'm a smoker, so that's why I'm sharing all these tips with you. I've tried it all. Okay, if you smoke TaylorMade, then buy some Rizzlers and some filter tips, and then all you have to do is break open the TaylorMades, empty all the tobacco that's inside them after you've broken them up, and put the tobacco in a bag, and then re-roll the TaylorMades, but using Rizzlers and filter tips, and just put a lot less tobacco in, and so make it thinner, and you can double the amount of cigarettes you have. So basically a box of 20 TaylorMade will suddenly become a box of 40. It really does double, believe me. Wow, it's mind-blowing. It really works, and you get just the same kick out of it, even though it's rolled a lot thinner. It's amazing. Literally, what I've discovered is one TaylorMade can make about 3 roll-ups, basically. So it really does double the amount of cigarettes you get. And it saves so much money. It really does. Also, you could mix half tobacco and half TaylorMade tobacco together. There's been so many times when I've come in near the end of my tobacco, and I know, especially at the end of the month, I know I don't have enough money to go and buy another whole big pouch of tobacco. So I'll get a cheap box of TaylorMade, which is a lot cheaper than the tobacco. And then I just, again, break open all the TaylorMade, empty that tobacco in with the leftover actual tobacco I've got, and it just makes it go a lot further. Sometimes you can almost make like a whole new bag of tobacco just for mixing the two together. So that definitely helps. You can buy super thin filter tips, as it's easier to roll thinner cigarettes, and super thin Rizzler papers. This will just give you a stronger hit, so you don't have to use as much tobacco. So those are just little hints and tips for those of you who are smokers, on how to save money and make your tobacco go further. Yeah. And now we'll look at loans and debts. Try, if you can, if you have got loans and debts, to pay a little extra each month off your loans and your debts. So say you have a set amount that you pay, direct debit, or however you pay it each month towards paying off a loan, for example, or a debt. Just try and pay an extra little bit each month, even if it's an extra £1 or an extra £5, because that does add up. It really does. Just a little bit extra, whatever you can afford to pay extra each month, really helps. It makes a difference. It helps to reduce the loan, and obviously clear it as soon as possible, or clear that debt as soon as possible. So that's the main thing. You just want to be clear of that debt, because that debt or that loan, with that money, you can use that for other things that you need or that you're lacking at this time. It could be food that you're desperate for, or gas, electric, clothes, anything else. So paying off those debts and those loans as soon as possible is extremely important. So just from adding an extra £1 or £2 each month, or even a £5 each month, a little bit extra that you pay off towards your loans and debts, can really make such a positive difference. You can also try saving money each month until you can clear all your debts and loans. So put money every time you get paid. Excuse me. Every time you get paid, put even just £5 away. Even just a £5 each month, a £10 each month, £10, a £5, and or even a few quid each month, and that eventually adds up, and then before you know it, you'll be able to pay off your debts or your bills and say, look here, I've got 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever it is I've been saving, and you can pay it off, or even pay a big chunk of it off to really clear things. Also try and cut out the odd luxury. Be more careful with your spending. Try and rack your brain on creative ways that you can reduce your bills. Search the web for ideas. Do research. Look around for cheaper options. Ask others what they do, who their providers are. Get ideas and give these ideas a good old try. If you are in quite serious debt, there's so many places out there that can help. There's debt help, so much. You just type in line, help with my debts, help with my bills. There's also organizations you can turn to. I know in England we have a lot of different organizations that can really help you to tackle your debts and give you that extra support. There's churches that you can go to that can help you. So it's just looking and doing research to find out what help is out there to help you better manage your debts and your bills, and what support you can get. And there is so much. There really is so much out there. It's just putting that time in and doing that research, and you'll be amazed at what you can find. Right, we'll now look at being strict and sensible with your spending. This is very important. One evening, or when you get the chance, sit down and just make a big list of all your monthly outgoings. And it's really important to just be completely honest with yourself, really. Where is your money going? Where is your money actually going each month? And write everything down. Include like the little odd cake you buy every now and then, or that new lipstick, or it could be anything, the little treat you got yourself. Include everything. The purpose of this is to really look at your monthly outgoings, where it's going. Account for every single penny and try and be honest and think, yeah, am I wasting that money? Is it going to good things? Is that money that I could be putting away saving or paying off loans? Was it necessary to buy so-and-so or buy this or buy that? So really look at where your money is going and try and find areas where you can make necessary cutbacks if possible. Take a long, hard look at your finances. Look at how much money you do have coming in each month, and how you can make that money go further. Look into alternatives that are cheaper. Look at alternative providers, for example, like for your Wi-Fi, and could be electric, gas. Have you got the cheapest providers there are? Can you get a better deal somewhere else? If it's a mortgage, can you get a cheaper mortgage somewhere else or get help? Just really look at everything, break everything down. Another tip is to not be shy to buy clothing, toys, books, shoes, and other odds and ends from charity shops, Friday Ad, Free Cycle, Facebook Marketplace, and anywhere like that. Why spend £30 or £40 on an item when you can get the exact same thing in just as good condition for just a few pounds from a charity shop or elsewhere? I've got some amazing bargains through charity shops. Most of my clothes, actually I think everything I own, to be completely honest, is from the charity shop or boot sales and things like that. I can't actually remember the last time I bought something from an actual shop. I think I bought a vest top, a spaghetti top, and even that was only for like £1 something from Primark, and a pair of slippers for £1, I think they were, from Primark. Not because I'm a cheapskate, because I try and save money. So once in a blue moon I'll buy a little something which is cheap or affordable from an actual shop, but most of the time it's from charity shops, marketplaces, things like that. And you can get some really good clothes. And the fun thing is as well, which I really find what I like the most, because I'm an Aquarius, and Aquarians, we like to dress differently. So we have our unique way of dressing. And I find that if you buy something from an actual big shop, a brand shop, you all end up wearing the exact same thing, because whatever's in trend at that point, everyone will go and buy it. And so everyone will be wearing the same thing that's in trend at that time. If you go to a charity shop or marketplace or a boot fair, something like that, you can get different stuff. And so you dress differently. Well, that's the way I see it. I like it. And then you're not just like everyone else, all wearing the same thing, whatever's the trend at that time, whatever's hot on the sales at that time. You're wearing your own unique style, and you can find some really good bargains. So, yeah. Hairdressers too, you can find some really cheap hairdressers out there. I like going to the one where everything is, I think it's gone, everything was £11, but it's gone up to everything's £13 now. And so I could get my hair cut and coloured and everything for like sometimes under 20 quid, about 20 quid the most, just from looking around and shopping around for cheaper deals. And they do a brilliant job. I love it. I've been going to them for years and years and years. I think it's everything's £13 now. And that's what we have here in England. And I love them. I always get my hair done by them. And I've had my hair coloured, I've had it cut, I've had it, done in all different things, and I spend maybe £20-30 maximum. It's amazing. So just from shopping around, you can really save yourself a lot of money. Same with like if you've got Amazon or you've got Netflix and all these different things. Shop around, find the cheapest deals. Always worth shopping around. Try going through all your regular bills such as TV, phone, mobile, mortgage, gas, electric, rent, all these usual standard regular bills. And do research to find other providers. This is what I mentioned a bit earlier in the course. Do research to see who can offer you better deals. Uswitch is a great place to look. They show you what everyone's providing you at this time and where you can get better deals, what's the best bargain at this time. So just from doing research, you can find the cheapest packages, and it can really save you. It can save you a lot of money just from putting that time and effort in to research different providers. So it's definitely worth looking into. Another thing is if you keep buying taxis and bus tickets and stuff like that, again, as with the travel, just see where your money's going. Do you really need to get a taxi every time, or could you instead get a bus or walk? It's just looking at where you can save money. Also restrict eating out to maybe once a month as a treat. That way you'll enjoy it a lot more as well. Think of it as if you go to McDonald's and KFC and restaurants every single week, you end up paying tons of money, double that than what you would do if you just made it yourself. And it always tastes much better when you make it yourself. Homemade is definitely the best. But instead of just buying loads of McDonald's and KFCs and restaurants and constantly eating out, buying Greg's, pastries, you keep going out and buying products, it adds up. Even if it is just a pie here, a cake here, a quick treat here, it does add up. Where you could just make it yourself at home. And, you do enjoy it a lot more. Homemade food is so much nicer. You could even try just make your own sandwiches. So instead of buying a meal deal or a sandwich when you're out, make your own sandwiches, make your own drinks, and take them out with you. Put them in your bag, and you can have them if you're out and about for the day and you're going to get hungry. Then you've got homemade that's already made. It's exactly the way you like it. It's got the right seasoning. It's the right portions because you would have made it yourself, and you just take it out with you. It really does make a big difference. You could even try eating and drinking before you go out and about. So this will stop the temptation of purchasing foods and drinks while you're out and about if you have it beforehand. So just get rid of any cravings you may have, or if you're hungry, or if you do get the nibbles quite easily, then just stick a few nibbles that you have at home in your bag so you have snacks on hand as and when you need it. It'll just be ways to prevent you from buying snacks and treats when you're out. Another tip is to only go out to a pub or out for a night out maybe once a month, again as a treat. This will save you so much money, and you'll also enjoy it a lot more. I remember there was a time when I used to go out all the time. I was always going out, pubbing and clubbing, and in the end, I just got bored. I got bored of it, and I thought, this is just not fun anymore. What seemed so cool at first, I was always out, and then in the end, it was like the same old, the same old. And then I gave it a rest. I didn't go for a while, and when I did go out, after giving it a good break, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had more fun then, after having a good rest from it, than when I was constantly doing it all the time. So you get a lot more enjoyment out of it, and it also saves you so much money. Another thing is, when you do go out, you don't have to drink as much just to have a good time. My eldest daughter and I, we used to, before she had her baby, we used to go out and have a really good night out. We used to love seeing live bands and having karaoke nights. So we'll go and see live bands and have our karaoke nights, and we really enjoyed it. It was our special thing we did at the weekends and every now and again, and we just had so much fun. And what we used to do is we used to buy maybe 1-2 drinks each when we went out, and we used to just savor those drinks. We used to sip them and make them last, and we used to have so much fun because we were going out more for not to get drunk, but more just to enjoy the live bands, because that's what we really enjoyed. We love live bands, we love karaoke, and so we were going out for the entertainment and just to mingle, to socialize, to meet other people. And we used to have maybe 2 drinks, 2 maximum the whole night, maybe 3, mostly it was about 2, and we had some of the best nights, some really good laughs, and without having to get drunk, without having to spend a fortune. So it is doable. There's even been times, I think, when we only had 1 drink the whole night. The rest of the time we'd get soda water or just a glass of water and ice. But we had some really, really good night out. So much fun. Definitely want to do that again. So yeah, you don't have to spend a fortune to have a really good time. You can have just as much fun and just spend a little bit of money. And especially if you only do it once in a while, you enjoy it so much more. Another tip is to never use your bank card when you go out or doing shopping or anything like that. Rather draw out the amount that you need and pay in cash. This will prevent you from overspending, as you'll be more in control of what you're spending, because you know, look, I've only drawn out the certain amount. I'm not going to use my card, so I can't be putting extra bits in my trolley. So it's just a way of managing how much you spend. Also, another tip is to put all your loose change at the end of each day in a pot. Do not touch it. Really try to resist not touching it. This is something I have difficulty with. I have my savings pot, and the amount of times I've dipped into it, and I'm thinking, damn, I wish I did not do that. Yeah, so I've dipped into mine a few times, but try not to dip into it. And you just put any loose change you have at the end of every day, especially if you have been drawing money out instead of using your bank card. And you'll have change at the end of the day or the end of the week. Just pop that change into your savings pot, and you will be amazed at how much that adds up. You just forget about it. Just keep putting your change in there, and before you know it, you'll have tons of money. And I actually got this idea from a friend of mine. She was a friend I was with once, and we're really close friends. We're still close friends. And she said to me, look, because she was moving home and she needed money towards helping her move, and she had just over £700. I was like, wow, how did you save that? And she said, just from putting her coins at the end of every week, putting that change in her pot, and she forgot about it, and she just kept adding to it. And then in the end, she ended up with just over £700. Had the money to move, the money to get new stuff for her new place. So it really is worth doing. It really is. And you can also use the change for emergencies. So if an emergency does crop up and you're having a bad month financially, you've got that spare change that you've been putting away as an emergency. So it really is worth doing. You can also only buy food and other shopping when you really, really have to. use up what you've got first in your cupboards, in your fridge, in your freezer, before buying anything more. And when you get down to the real bare essentials, then improvise, be creative, and see what types of new dishes you can create from the bits and bobs that you have left in your cupboards and your fridge. You'll be quite surprised at what you can create and come up with. There's been so many times when I've actually created some amazing dinners, some really good dinners. I was like, wow. You know, when you actually shocked yourself and you think to yourself, oh my God, well, that actually worked. And that was from just the bare essentials I had left in the house. And I was like, what am I going to do? I got these bare essentials. I don't even know what I'm going to cook. And I just flung it together in a pot, mixed that, tried this, tried that, tried different things. And I came up with some amazing meals. So you can really create some great stuff. It's worth giving it a try. And that way you're using everything up. And then you only buy stuff as and when you really need it. So use everything, make sure it's all done before buying more. And also, instead of just throwing away old clothes and bedding and stuff like that, use them, cut them up, turn them into dishcloths, rags, pillowcases, things like that. What can you recycle and turn them into, instead of just chucking away these old things? Recycle them. And recycling is fun, it's creative, it's cost effective, and it saves money. There's some amazing things that you can create from using everyday household goods even, and things you don't even think of using, and you can turn them into games, you can turn them into ornaments, you can make so many different things just from everyday items. When you run out of washing powder, soap, and things like that, try and find alternatives that you can use. I've used shampoo before for washing my clothes when I've been really desperate. It works just as well. If you run out of toothpaste, then you can use water and your toothbrush to brush your teeth, and then eat mints afterwards to help give you fresh breath. I know it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but desperate times calls for desperate measures. It works. At least you have clean teeth and fresh breath from the mints. I know what it's like to not have money. I've been there. I mean, far too many times I've been there. So I really get it. It's hard. And that's why you have to find these ways to get by. And just be creative. Think outside the box. There's so many ways that you can save money, that you can make extra money, that you can make your money go further just from being creative, trying out things that you never thought you'd try before, thinking outside the box and doing things a bit differently. Just being a bit more sensible, it can make a huge difference. I'm using all my own experiences here that I'm teaching you through this exercise. It's all what I've done and what I've learned over the years, little tips, hints, and things like that. Just what I find helps. Everyone has their own things, so maybe you may find some of these to be useful. I hope so. But yeah, it's just finding what works for you. And when times are hard, us humans, we find a way. We're so resilient. We adapt. We adjust. We are all natural born survivors, and this is true. It really is a trial of process and error and trying different things, experimenting, being creative, and you will be amazed at what you can come up with and what you can achieve. Right, let's carry on. Well, you can find different recipes that make food go further. There's so many recipes out there where you can bulk it up with like a lot of rice or a lot of pasta just to make food go further. So maybe look into these types of recipes. Also where you can make cheaper dinners. That's always a good way. Look at cheap, affordable dinners and try out these new recipes. When preparing meals, first dish out the food into sensible portions and realistic portions before actually cooking it. In this way, you only cook what is needed, and it also stops food wastage and it saves money. Also, try to stop spontaneous buying. Always ask yourself if you really need it. Do you really need it? If so, then purchase. If you don't need it, then find that strength to walk away and say, no, I'm not going to be buying that because I don't actually need it. Try getting into the habit of stopping, thinking, and then take action. So you stop, you think by asking yourself if you really need what it is that you're thinking of buying, and then take action either by walking away or purchasing the item. And you try and get into the habit of doing that, and you'll start seeing how much it saves you money. Always pay all your bills, your rent, the most important bills first. That's the first thing you do. When you get paid, payday comes along, the first thing you do on that payday is make sure that your bills, your rent, the most important things that need paying are done. And that's a very important rule, because then you'll have a good idea of what is left over for entertainment, for luxuries, for food, for days out, for essentials and other things like that. The most important thing is getting those bills paid so that you don't get into debt, so you don't end up having to get loans out or getting into trouble because you haven't paid your gas, you haven't paid your electric. So making sure your rent and your bills, the most important bills, are all paid first as soon as you get your payday. That's very, very, very important. And like I say, it will help you to better keep track of how much money you've actually got after you've paid all those essential bills that need to be paid. Then you can say, right, now I've got this amount. I can do that to buy my groceries. What's the next important thing? Groceries, essentials, things like that. Once you've bought those, and you keep doing it until you get down to what's left. What have you actually got left to live off for the rest of the month? So it's a good way for helping you to keep track of your spending and track of the money that you actually have in your accounts. If you give your children pocket money, then be strict. Tell them that it's up to them to make that money last and to go far. Do not buy extra treats or give extra things to them or extra cash during the month. By you just being strict with them and saying, look, this is your pocket money, spend it wisely, make it last, you'll be setting a good example for your children. You'll be teaching them how to better manage their own money. You'll be teaching them how to be responsible with money. And it's also setting those boundaries with your children. And it saves you money in the long run. There's so many times when it's so easy, your child says, please, can I just have this? And it's like, oh, okay, here you go. Here's an extra cake, or here's an extra tenner or an extra fiver. And that soon adds up. So by having these boundaries and being strict and sticking to the amount of pocket money they get each month is teaching your children to be more responsible with their money, and it will save you money, definitely. With special occasions such as Christmas and birthdays, only buy 1 or 2 main presents. And then you can buy lots of little knickknacks and cheap bits and bobs to bulk up the presents, like Poundland, Savers, where you can get all those cheap bits and bobs. And the children actually thoroughly enjoy those bits and bobs more than the actual big presents. That's what I found in my experience. My children used to love all the little knickknacks, and they were their favorites. And the big main presents that you spend a fortune on, they're just like, oh, it was a 2-minute wonder. It's those little knickknacks that they appreciate so much more, and it'll save you so much money. Try and do weekly or monthly shops and stick to it. Do not buy anything in between. Plan your meals and what you will need to last you for the week or the month. Having a good plan and structure will help to prevent overspending, and it will save you money. Make saving a fun thing to do. You could try changing your mindset when it comes to saving and money. See it not as a burden, but as a creative and fun challenge. Changing our mindset about money and about saving and spending can really just make a positive effect and difference with our actual bank account. It can change everything just from having a positive mindset. Recycle bottles, tins, clothes, shoes, paper, cardboards, everything like that, and create something new out of the old, which I've mentioned briefly before. This could be a really fun thing to do. Just try and find creative ways of how to turn your unwanted and old items into pieces of art and useful items. Try and turn off all lights, plugs, PCs, chargers, etc. Things like that when you're not using them. This will help to save on the electric bill. It does make a big difference. If you're not using it, turn it off. It really does save. Only put the heating on if you really need it on, or to warm the house up, and then turn it off. So what I do is I'll turn the heating on. I'll keep it on for a few hours so I'll get the house really nice and warm, and then I make sure all the windows are shut, and I turn it off, and that heat stays in the house, and I keep it off until I really need it. I only turn it on if I'm freezing or if it's actually needed. This will really save on gas bills. Obviously, sometimes it's difficult. I know in England recently we've had a lot of snow. We've had snow and it's been extra cold. So I will admit I've had my heating on a lot more. So at some points there is going to be times when it is particularly cold and you have to keep your heating on a lot longer. Then that's fair enough. But if you can, try and turn it off until you actually need it, or only when you really need it. Try find other ways of keeping warm by wrapping up extra warm, wearing extra blankets, just any ways of saving on your gas bill. Again, with electric as well, if you're not using items, turn them off so it saves your electric. Use less water. Only use water when it's really needed. Avoid flushing the toilet if you've only done a pee-pee a week. So try and avoid, then only flush it when you really have to flush, because this will save water and save your water bill. Run smaller baths. Also do dishes maybe once a day. Save your dishes for the end of the day and you do them all at once, because this will save on water. Stop buying lots of random cakes and treats, like I've mentioned so many times. This could, again, you can make your own homemade treats. It'll really save you a lot of money. Same principle applies like with wine and beers. Try restricting to maybe once a month when you have some beers in the evening or a glass of wine, and you'll enjoy it a lot more. Or even make it just at the weekends, like the weekends at the time when you have a glass of wine or a drink. Especially if you drink quite a lot during the week. If you limit it to the weekends or once a month, you enjoy it more, and it really does save a lot of money. If can, try to not have any direct debits or credit cards. Oh, they are just a nightmare. Really try to avoid them like the plague if you can. Be in control of your money. By paying out manually, you'll have a better idea of what's going on and what's coming in and out. You can take control of your bank account and be in control of your finances. Try to put a little money away into savings each month. Remember that money will soon add up. Again, try to avoid dipping into it. Only spend what you can afford. So if you can't afford it, don't spend on it. Another idea of a way of how you can keep track and record of what you're actually spending is to keep all your receipts, and that way you can always look through your receipts at the end of each week or each day and think, okay, what am I actually spending? Where's my money going on? So it's keeping a track record of where your money's going. Another thing that you could try, which is absolutely amazing, I do this all the time and I love it, I really do love it, is to make homemade ready meals. So what I usually do is when I get paid and I've paid all my bills, everything's done, I'll get my groceries and I'll buy like tubs of mince and chicken and vegetables and potatoes. And especially with vegetables and potatoes, fresh stuff like that, that goes off quickly. What I do is on that day, or when I buy it, I'll just bulk cook. And I love cooking anyway, so I'll spend like literally a day or two in the kitchen. And I'll cook up so many different dinners. I'll do cottage pie and stews and casseroles and macaroni and cheese. And I'll just make a whole batch of all different foods, homemade soups. And I'll just spend a day or two in the kitchen cooking all that food that I've bought. And I'll put it into tubs and put it in the freezer, and I'll make homemade ready meals. So I'll put it into the portions that I'm going to need for me and what portions I need to have, and I'll freeze it, and then you have that food there. You have ready meals that are healthy. It's the right portion because it's homemade, and you've dished it up exactly as you need it. And then all that food won't go to waste, especially like the fresh stuff, which you can't really freeze or you don't freeze and it goes off quickly. In that way, it's cooked on the day you get it and boxed up, put in the fridge in its portions, and you have homemade ready meals. It's easy, it's efficient, and it saves money in the end. It really does. You don't end up chucking away food that's gone old, or like, oh, I forgot to use that cabbage, for example, and now it's gone off. I need to chuck it, because you would have made already cooked something out of it. Also, it's handy if you've been working hard all day, or you've had a busy day and you're just shattered that night and you're thinking, oh, I just don't feel like cooking. You can just go into your freezer and take out one of your homemade ready meals. It's home cooked, it's fresh, it's the right portion, and it saves you having to cook. So it's for convenience too. Another thing you can do is portion up all your food before freezing it. So for example, what I do sometimes, because when I have my girls around, my daughters, they come and stay with me sometimes, and I'll have like a big family size portion of mince or big bags full of chicken, and I'll portion them all up when I buy them fresh. And I'll put them into individual bags and tubs, but without even cooking it. This is when it's just raw, and I've just got home from the shop. I portion it up into the portions I would need, bag it up, stick it in the freezer, and then when you need it, instead of having to defrost a whole punnet of mince, especially if you only need it for 1 or 2 people, you just defrost your ready-made portions that you've already prepared. Another tip is to keep a lot of your stuff in the fridge, because this actually makes it last longer. Things that are good to keep in the fridge are fruits, eggs. Eggs are very important. Keeping them in the fridge also keeps them a lot fresher. Bread, things like that you would usually just stick on the side. Keeping in the fridge makes it last a lot longer. It's just potatoes though. Potatoes last a lot longer if they're kept in a dark place, so like a cupboard. So dark cupboard for potatoes, somewhere dry, dark, not cold. That will make your potatoes last a lot longer, where things like eggs and bread, fruit, bananas, things like that will do much better in the fridge. Even onions and garlic will last a lot longer if you keep them in the fridge. Try and monitor how much clothes washings you do, like washing loads. Try and limit that if you can. Try and see what you can wash by hand, like underwear and small little vest tops, things like that can be easily washed by hand, which will just save washing loads. And then do the bigger stuff like jeans and bedding and stuff like that with the washing machine, just to cut down on gas and electric and washing powder and water. Just really saves a lot of money. With milk, you can, if you're starting to get low on your milk, especially if you drink full cream milk or whole milk, when you're starting to get a bit low and you're thinking, oh, I don't have money to buy any more milk, just top it up with a bit of water, because you buy the green milk, which is semi-skimmed milk, so it's just making it like semi-skimmed milk. You're just adding a bit of water. It just makes it go that bit further, and it doesn't taste bad. It just makes it go further. It saves you money. To help make your medication go further, like paracetamol and ibuprofen, maybe try taking 1 instead of 2. 1 actually works really well. I do this all the time now. I don't actually like taking medication. I've got a real thing against medication. It's just me. Always have a bit of a paranoia with taking pills. I mean, I find I just take 1 paracetamol and it really works. You may have the odd occasion where you will have to take 2 if you've got a terrible hangover, for example, or a migraine or something like that. But if you can, try to just take 1 and see how that goes. And that'll just make your paracetamol last a lot longer. Also with buying gifts for birthdays and Christmas and special occasions, maybe try and buy these gifts during the sale times with Black Friday sales, January sales, or just during the year, throughout the year. maybe each month get 1 or 2 items and you just put it away, you hide it and save up. And then when you have a birthday or there's Christmas or a special occasion, you'll have a birthday card there, a Christmas card, you'll have a present, you'll have stuff on hand. And especially for like Christmas, if you just pace it out and even buy 1 or 2 items each month, by the time it comes to that special occasion, you would have everything, and it'll just save you so much money. It really does save. Instead of buying it all at once in bulk, you pace it out throughout the year. A great way to bulk up a meal, and it's very healthy, is to add a can of drained baked beans or any kinds of beans to your meal. So you can, if it's baked beans, you can wash off the tomato sauce just from washing them in a sieve or colander, or you can use any other types of beans. This really does help to make your dinner go a lot further. It really bulks up the meal. So we have now come to the end of this course. I really do hope that you found it to be helpful. These are just hints and tips from my own experiences and what I found has worked for me and really helped me. I hope that you will find them to be helpful too. Thank you again so much for taking the time to watch this, to listen, and to purchase this course. And yeah, I wish you all the best.